This is a video for the basics of how to set up to interact with the controls using the default Unreal HMD motion controllers and pawn setup. So first, Airship Blueprints, VR Blueprints. You're going to want to open up the wheel, the lever, and the pulley grip. Already got that here. Now, each of these you're going to want to add the pickup actor interface to. So, pickup actor interface, or whatever method of actually interacting with objects you have in your own project. So here, we'll add each of these, compile that. With this, we have an actual method that our project uses. Default, we just have custom events here, which are placeholders that you should replace with whatever you are using in your own VR project. So just replace these, like so, in the wheel, the lever, and the pulley grip. Or the pickup and drop equivalents. Alright, so with this we can now effectively grab and release each of these things. But we've got an airship here. Airships are different from what the default pawn usually is used to, which is working with world static. So we're going to make some changes. First, go your BP motion controller. These are the things that act as your hands. You've also got your motion controller pawn. So going to the motion controller, to open up release actor. Right off the bat, unless something's attached to it, it doesn't actually drop it. But we're not actually picking up and attaching stuff to us, we're just linking it so that it will then know to follow us. So we don't want this. As long as the thing is valid, we'll just go through with the drop. You can refine this for your own project, but quick and simple method here. The trace teleport destination is the next one. World static. In our case, we can add vehicle. Because, well, we want to be able to trace vehicle. Next, navigation. Navigation does not work super well on moving things, so we'll just remove that requirement. As long as we get a successful return trace, then we can teleport to it. Over here, the line trace for objects. On the handle teleport arc, we'll also want to add vehicle to that, or just replace this with a variable and have everything, that way you can easily change it in one area. And then going back here, there's one other thing, which is our airship moves and we don't want to be left behind. So hit actor component from that initial trace in the trace teleport destination node. So in here we've basically brought out the hit component and we've taken it so that it only cares if we hit something, not if you can navigate to it. So with this, we will simply promote this to a variable. Hit component. And then nav mesh location, trace location. Since we're not actually using the nav mesh, we'll take our trace location and replace that with these nodes for where we're doing our line trace and final teleport targeting for. So with this, we can now teleport to something and we'll know what we're teleporting to. And with the release actor, we can actually let go of objects that we have not actually attached to our hands. So interaction. So compile, save, go to motion controller pawn. Now here, get that hit component reference on the input actions for teleport. So attach to component, So if we execute the teleportation, we will be attached to what we teleported to. You could set up something so it only does this if that was a vehicle object, but for now we'll just do it for everything. Quick and simple, be sure to set to keep world. You don't want to be randomly displaced off into some weird other location. Alright. So with that, we should be good. So compile, 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 make sure everything's properly compiled. And actually go here, grab motion controller pawn for quick testing. And let's just drop this here. Auto possess player, 0. And right, I need to go turn on my setup, so I'll be back in a moment. And here I am putting on the VR headset. The audio on my VR setup is not great for videos. So, as you can see, we can now move around on the ship because we set it to trace on vehicle and not just world static. We can grab and spin the wheel. Even when we let go, it's got a little bit of energy. We can grab the lever and push that forward and back. And there goes that. And we've got the pulley mechanism, which we can use to control elevation as well. Let's get that centered so you can see it. Alright, so grab the pulley, pull it down, the ship will now drop. Bring it up, and the ship goes up. Or will once it overcomes its bottom momentum. And there we are, flying past it and up. So with that, we have the ability to interact with controls in VR and to stay on the airship even as it's moving without being left behind because we attached ourselves to it as part of the teleport action. So exactly how you'll want to do this will vary based on your own project, but this is just a quick example of how to use it using purely the demo starting VR pawn and motion controller setup that you can find in Unreal Engine. So, and here I am just messing around with the elevation controls and looking at the tail of the ship respond. So yeah, a few general suggestions are if you add the attached to component and certain other things, or the pickup, whether you interact a certain way, set up branches based on what type of object it is. So like if it is a vehicle, then you can be attached to it, but if it's world static or certain other things, then not. Or only if there's vehicle will you ignore the navigation components, because you can assume that you can get onto any vehicle, but for normally moving around the world you might still want to be locked to only places that the nav mesh properly works for. And that is me slamming my controller into the wall because, yeah, VR, that happens. I have a small setup. Yeah, the flying airship really is fun looking in VR, which was why I started messing with this on my own, and now I've done this. Oh well. So, hopefully you have found this somewhat useful in order to start messing around with the airship yourself a bit, if you're messing in VR. If you do have any questions, leave them in the comments, or go and post them on the Discord. Until next time, have a good one. Terracon4 out.